morning. I'm short-handed. I'm the only cook here, and of course my weekend deliveries here. So I got a big task ahead of me.
So you've obviously got something else planned though for Canada Day. You've got you're celebrating Canada Day there at the cafe.
Yeah, we're celebrating Canadians Day. I'd call it.
Yes. And first, though, I'd like to introduce our viewers at the Western Standard to Chris Scott, who is the owner and the chief cook of Alberta's legendary Whistle Stop Cafe. And I was there the other day, and of course, anybody who has been following the lockdowns that have been going on across this country, and especially in Alberta, knows that Chris was one of the people who was in the forefront of the opposition to those lockdowns, and you kept that cafe open when the government and it was the health Gestapo told you to shut down. And did they actually throw you in jail for that, Chris?
They did, yeah. So they actually ended up seizing my building, and they chained my doors shut. After that, we actually I had already moved my inventory to a reefer truck. So we just set up on our patio and in the park, and we kept serving burgers and breakfast even after my building was locked down, chained shut. But yeah, I ended up throwing a rally, a big protest, because the government ended up putting some more restrictions on restaurants. And I said, you know what, this is ridiculous. So we had a big protest. AHS actually went to the court and got an injunction against me without me being present. And you can find that story online pretty easily. But what they did is they went to the court and told them that they weren't aware that I had a lawyer, even though they were communicating with my lawyer at the time. Got an injunction against me that said I wasn't allowed to organize, attend, incite, or promote any illegal gatherings. So, I said I'm protesting, and I'm a Canadian, and I have the right to protest. And it doesn't say that I only have the right to protest if the government says so. So I did, and the second day of my protest, they threw me in jail.
Well, now I think Tamara Leach, of course, who was very involved with the Freedom Convoy here in Ottawa in February, she was supposed to be joining you today, I believe, and it was advertised. So people are speculating, I think, that she was arrested for whatever reason, but she was arrested because she was slated to appear with you. You think there's any truth in that?
No, absolutely not. So Tamara and I had this conversation a few times. I was well aware of her bail conditions, as was she, and she was making a very strong effort to comply with the release conditions. So what we were doing here was in no way did that violate her release conditions. It's come to my attention that the reason she got thrown in jail was over a photograph that ended up on social media. She had a picture with Tom Marazzo, who was one of the key players in the Freedom Convoy. And so her bail condition said that she's not allowed to speak or, socialize with any of those folks unless there's lawyers present. So, yeah, so she traveled to Ottawa, and she received an award from the JCCF, their George Jonas Freedom Award, or yes. I can't remember, George Jonas Freedom Award.
Yes.
And had a picture taken with Tom Marazzo, which wasn't supposed to be on social media. But there was lawyers in the room. There's a dozen lawyers there. So even though there was a picture of her with Tom Marazzo, according to what the release conditions said, she didn't violate her release conditions.
Yeah. Well, it seems like the prosecution is continuing to persecute Tamara Leach. There's no question about that.
And yeah, of course they are. And her and I have had this conversation as well. And every time they do something like this, like, people get upset, they get angry, they get sad. But really, if you think about it, every time something like this happens, it just solidifies our resolve to make some changes in this province and in this country. I mean, when the government can do things like that, when the Crown prosecutor can can throw you in jail on a whim and prevent you from attending events that you're going to participate in or celebrating Canada Day. That's disgusting. And even though she didn't breach her release conditions, she's still punished. I mean, she's still going to be in jail for a week or 2 or 3 or who knows how long she's going to be in jail. And once they realize that she didn't violate her conditions, it's too late. She's already missed Canada Day. She's already been in jail. Like it's absolutely horrendous. So our message here is to not be angry or depressed about this, but look at the big picture and look at what it actually means for this movement. Everything that happens like this pushes the movement ahead and encourages more people to get involved peacefully.
Yes. Interesting. I'll be heading out over to the protest today, but on my way back to Ottawa yesterday, I was watching some video of I don't even want to say protester, because he was pleading with the police officer not to step on his neck. And he was saying, "Stop, I will comply. I'll do whatever I have to comply." And it reminded me actually of the incident in the States when that was the highly publicized incident that became the centerpiece of the protest for the entire summer. But somehow the mainstream media got the story completely backwards, and they reported that it was a police officer who was being held down by a protester. And clearly the video that I saw shows that it was a civilian that was being attacked by a police officer. And I can only say that we're in for another weekend of disinformation, lies.
Oh, absolutely.
And here we go again. And the mayor of Ottawa is already talking about the demonstrators going to jail for racist and misogynist and homophobic language. And he's already anticipating this, of course, like it's already happened, just as he did the last time around. And I covered most of the February convoy and of course saw none of that behavior on any day that I was there. And I was there for
nor did I.
Just about every day. And I know, yes, you were there as well. What do you think you achieved in February? I think you achieved quite a bit.
Before I answer that question, I'm just going to say I actually did see some racism, but it wasn't from the protesters or the convoy participants. It was from fools like Mayor Jim Watson, who used those terms and those words to try and silence those they disagree with. Like, that's the most racist thing you can do, in my opinion, is use something like that. Pardon me, I got a truck coming in.
That's quite all right. We have to deal with that all the time.
Yeah. So when you're using those terms to try and silence people you can't debate, you're an absolute fool, and you're the worst kind of racist. So Mayor Jim Watson, you are a racist, and you are a disgusting human being for using people's real struggles and real issues as weapons against those that you disagree with. Like that anybody with a little bit of common sense and a desire for the truth at all will know that obviously it wasn't a police officer that was attacked in Ottawa. Like, maybe a police officer got hurt. Yeah, I could see that. It happens. But when you're talking about the Parliamentary Police Service, there's dozens, if not hundreds of them out there. And I can't see for a minute a protester wrestling a police officer to the ground and doing something like that, because they're outnumbered. They're far outnumbered. And in all these situations, you see these horrible cops, like they were smashing that guy's head into the ground. And there was a crowd onlooking, a couple hundred people, that could have easily turned that situation very bad for those police officers, but they didn't. because these protesters and these convoy folks and the ones that are there to celebrate Canada Day, they don't believe in that, and they're there for a peaceful assembly. The only ones that are there with violence in mind are Jim Watson's cronies and Trudeau's Parliamentary Police Service cronies, who seem to be using whatever opportunity they can to take out their frustrations on innocent protesters. And to be fair, I didn't see the entire video of that guy when he got taken down. I don't know what the backstory is, but regardless, the way that man was treated was disgusting, and I hope those officers are held to account. And in turn, I hope that horrible mayor that Ottawa has out there, Jim Watson, I hope that he gets fired, because he is the worst kind of human being, that man.
Yes, he reminds me a lot of Justin Trudeau. He alienates and smears his enemies as white supremacists and racists.
Yeah. They admire the basic dictatorship of China, and they're trying to model their governance to that type of thing, and it's disgusting.
It is. I think you guys achieved a lot in February, and we just recently saw the vaccine mandates lifted for domestic travel, but I think we still need to see those vaccine mandates lifted for truckers. And do you think that's going to happen anytime soon?
Probably not. I think this is being used as a punishment for truckers. And we should have never seen any vaccine mandates in the first place. Just the fact that they were there at all for anybody, that speaks to the need for change in this country and in this province. So yeah, there's no need for it. No other jurisdiction, as far as I'm aware, I could be wrong, are doing that. Even the United States isn't doing that. And yet here we have this spoiled brat prime minister in Canada exercising his fleeting authority to punish those that don't agree with him or don't like him. And I just take comfort in the fact that everything that happens for a reason. And I believe there is a plan for us and for everybody. So I know that truth will prevail, and eventually the folks that are doing these things to Canadians will be held to account. And it's not going to be through violence like Trudeau and his Parliamentary Police Service and the RCMP in some cases want to see. It's going to be through peaceful non-compliance and using our voices and democracy in order to remedy the wrongs that have been done in the past 2.5 years.
So the fight goes on.
It does, yeah. Everybody's out camping and golfing right now, yet we still have the very same problems we had 2.5 years ago that allowed the government to do these things to us. Nothing has changed. There are some politicians who are starting to get in front of this freedom movement, this parade that's been created because they want to be elected. So they're starting to say things like, what was done to you, Chris, over the past 2.5 years, with AHS doing this, it was wrong. And if we're elected as the leader, we're gonna take away some of their power and hold some people to account. And I'm hearing that more and more and more. So this freedom movement and the convoy, like the freedom convoy, it's working because people are starting to pay attention. They're starting to realize that our rights and freedoms have been infringed in this country. And at the end of the day, that is not allowed. And if we continue to allow it, this isn't the Canada that we grew up in.
Well, I want to thank you for the work you've done on behalf of Canada and on behalf of freedom. And I'll give you a plug. You've got some of the best food in Alberta and some of the best gas prices. So if you're near Red Deer or Haunted Lake, stop in at the Whistle Stop Cafe. It's certainly worth your while. You're going to meet a fighter for Canadian liberty, and you're going to have some great coffee, some great food, and fill up your gas tank at the same time.
Absolutely. Chris, everyone else raises their gas prices on long weekends. I lower mine.
Well, Chris, you're a patriot, and you're a proud Canadian. And it's been a pleasure talking to you today. Thank you very much. And you're always going to be a friend of here at the Western Standard. So thank you very much for chatting with me today.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
And happy Canada Day. And we'll look forward to talking to you again.
Happy Canadians Day.
Canadians Day. Yes. Bye for now.